Sometimes I don't recognize my mind. Sometimes I wonder if it's yours.
Okay, U.S. history students, welcome to week number 7, okay? So we started already looking at what happens to veterans when they come home, right? What are some of the obstacles that they face? But we're moving beyond just Vietnam, and we're gonna have to start digging into all of the veterans that have come home since then. Because after Vietnam, we've still fought in a pretty steady flow of conflicts across the globe. A lot of the battlefields have shifted to the Middle East, but we've still continued to send troops into harm's way in Afghanistan and Iraq over the last couple of decades, and people are coming home with injuries. They're different than the types of injuries that people suffered in Vietnam, but in a lot of ways, they're still the same, right? And so we gotta kind of unravel some of that, right? So again, first thing that I want you to do is I want you to review what you went over last week, right? Because I wanna make sure that we're not losing anything in continuity moving from week to week. But then we're gonna start to take a look at the personal impact that war has on people, right? Because I think a lot of the times when you watch a movie or you watch a TV show and you see all the battles and the warfare and the conflict and the explosions, it's kind of like glorifying the whole experience. But the reality of someone who goes through experiences like that is when you come back, you're never fully able to erase what you experienced. And if you were unfortunate enough to receive some of the things that we're going to go over, things like PTSD, TBI, they could lead to serious long-term impacts on people's lives. And that's something that we should be helping support them with, right? We always say that we're going to war to support American freedom. So those people who are doing the fighting, shouldn't we take care of them when they return? So you're going to take a look at a story of an individual, of a young man who went to war in Iraq, came home, and suffered some of the consequences and had to fight to get out of it, right? Then I'm going to kind of take a deeper dive into 3 different major consequences for veterans when they're coming home. I already mentioned PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, TBI, traumatic brain injury, and then we're also going to look at clinical depression as one of the things that really impact soldiers. And I'm going to try to unravel what are some of the symptoms of these kind of conditions, but also what are maybe some of the consequences for people in like a day-to-day kind of setting. Then I'm going to have you kind of go into what is the VA, the Veterans Administration? What are they doing to support people right now? The VA is the second largest single government agency outside of the military itself. And so it's important for us to try to understand what it's doing well, and what it can maybe start to improve on, right? And then the last thing is, I'm going to actually have you again start working on your project. You're going to be taking some of what you've learned and you're going to be writing some paragraphs that you're going to use for your project in the final week, okay? Hey, you're getting through. We only have a few more weeks, and that could either be really scary or it could be really exciting. If you've been keeping up with your work, this is exciting. If you're just catching up, you're probably like, oh, Shufel, why is there more? So just continue plugging through, though, because there's only a few more weeks after this. Good luck.